Hello and welcome to today's very special Film Club webcast. I'm Rico and I'm here with young Film Club reporter Jack.
Hi, I'm Jack and we're at the BFI South Bank soaking up the buzz for London's Film Festival 2012. We're here with Mat Whitecross director and Nico Mirallegro, one of the stars of Spike Island. Hello guys.
Hi,
guys.
How you doing?
You're right.
Do you want to do a quick shout out to the schools that are watching, Jack?
Notre Dame Roman Catholic School, Derby High School, Castle Rock High School and Aldenham School.
Nice. Brilliant. Now, lads, I've got to admit that I think we both are massive fans of the Stone Roses.
Everyone is.
Yeah, they all come out. It was hard for me to keep a critical distance from the film before I saw it because I was so tied to the band. And I've read, Matt, that you're a huge fan as well and you went to the reunion gigs and stuff. So was it a similar experience for you when you started making the film?
Well, it was interesting because I'd done films about music before and I worked on a lot of music videos. So I had it was one of those things where actually doing another music film, it took me a little bit of a while to get my head around it, whether I definitely wanted to do that. But I'm a huge fan of the Stone Roses, but I kind of felt like, is that the same as doing another music film? And what actually attracted me to it wasn't that, it was more about telling a coming of age story about kids like Nico and his gang, just trying to tell a story of what it's like to have ideas maybe above your station, trying to have aspiration to do something with your life and maybe feeling it's slightly out of reach.
You really pulled off the music scenes of the young lads trying to make their first attempts at songwriting, and there was a lot of energy in the film. Nico, how did you put the shadow cast to rehearsal sounding fresh, and what did you do after take?
Well, basically, the producers and Matt and everyone got us rehearsing for about 5 weeks beforehand, and I mean, we were doing it like 3 times a week, practicing every day, and you know, before the film, I couldn't actually pick up a guitar. I was holding it the other way, you know, playing it that way. So there was a lot of like rehearsal, and I mean, Jordan couldn't play the drums, we played Zipper, and it just sort of formed. And after like 3-4 weeks, we started actually sounding like a real band, which is one of the lines in the film. And it's like everyone was like, you should join a band now. You should start.
Yeah,
start up.
yeah, definitely.
Okay, now we've got a question coming from Jordan from St. Joseph's Catholic Academy. Cheers, Jordan.
Hello, my name's Jordan. I come from St. Joseph's Catholic Academy. I am 10 years old. Can you tell me how many people does it take to make a movie? Thank you, bye.
Cheers, Jordan. So Jordan was asking, how many people does it take to make a film?
Good question, Jordan. Really lovely to hear from you. I think the thing is, it's kind of like how long is a piece of string? So I've made films in the past when I was starting out, which involved me and an actor, and that was it, and filming it on my phone or on my dad's camera or whatever I could use. On this film, it took about 40 people at different stages. I mean, it depended on the day you came in. Sometimes we had a big crane, sometimes it was just something small, like just me and Nico and a couple other actors in a small room. So it really depends. But to do a film on this scale, it takes about 40 people.
We've got a clip of one of your previous films, Matt, a really powerful documentary, Road to Guantanamo, and that's available on the Film Club website as well. So if you like what you see, get that on your ordering list. Let's roll the clip.
That's how I got left behind.
Bishop? अफगानिस्तान का बॉर्डर
Border trade continues unimpeded. Amongst those crossing are brave Afghan aid workers. The people rely on them for food and health care and to explain their needs to the outside world.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the clip. I think that's enough of them.
Yeah.
A bit hot. Right, Jack's got something very exciting to tell you guys because he's actually got a bit of background in film.
Well, during last Christmas, I made a film, and basically, me and my dad had a call from our next door neighbour saying that there was a power cut down the village. So we sort of walked down there expecting for it to be a normal power cut, and then we were greeted by a prisoner of war.
Amazing.
And we sort of sorted it out, talked to him a bit about what happened, and then we had an email coming from Film Club about making a film, and I was like, oh, I know who I can ask. And so we went down to his house and sort of asked him, you know, could we use your like knowledge of World War II and everything that went on to help me make a documentary about what you did.
Yeah.
And he sort of said yes, and we sort of like made this film, and then it got shown here a year ago.
Amazing.
And along with like loads of other films, which was really good.
That's incredible. I don't think there's many people your age who'd be able to say they've shown a film here at the BFI South Bank. It took me till I was about 25 before I managed to show something here.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely brilliant. What I took from that was that Jack literally made a film about something that was happening on his doorstep, about a neighbour that he'd met.
Yeah.
So that's something that you'd echo, go out there into your community and see what's happening.
Definitely. I know when I was growing up, I wanted to be a filmmaker. As soon as I realised that actually films didn't just turn up and just appear by magic, and that they were made by people, I wanted to be a film director, and I didn't know how to get into it. And actually, I think really you just need to grab whatever you can. If it's a phone, if it's a friend's camera, if you can borrow one from school, just get on with it, and don't worry too much about having to know everything, because no one really knows anything. Even when you're kind of doing it professionally, just get on with it and you'll learn as you go along.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So I've got a couple of really young filmmakers here. Obviously, you're still a young lad.
Not anymore.
But it's really inspiring for everyone out there who's on the Film Club website. You know, you can go out there and you can make your own films. Okay, Nico, I've got a question for you. This comes from Aldenham School. Thanks very much for your question, guys. And they're asking, this is really a question for both of you. Do you think that films like Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll, which is your previous film, Matt, and Spike Island, glamorise things like sex and drugs and rock and roll, and do they encourage young people to engage in risky behaviour?
Well, I mean, also on Sex and Drugs and on Spike Island, we do show drug use. There is kind of promiscuous sex, those kind of things. But I think they exist in real life. So I think it's important, of course, you know, I think you shouldn't treat it irresponsibly. You shouldn't just be advocating it or whatever, but it's important to show it. I think we need to discuss those subjects. They're facts of life, and actually for films not to deal with them, I think is a mistake. The same with violence and so on. I think you need to treat it responsibly, but you can still have it as part of the subject matter for a good film.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really good you're engaging with the issues.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
It's out there.
I mean, I think this is, you know, I think whatever age you are, but particularly when you're growing up,
Yeah.
it's important for people to talk about it. I don't think people like to be told what to think or do with their lives. They just need to be able to discuss these things rationally. I think just saying that actually we can't talk about it and these things don't exist, I think that's a mistake. I think it's important just to chat, really.
Nico, we've got a question coming from Notre Dame Roman Catholic School in Plymouth. Would like to know, what's your most embarrassing moment on set?
The most embarrassing moment on set? Right.
Sorry about that.
It's a weird one, because I mean we had such like a real buzz on set. Like we were just like one big family, and everyone sort of got on and watched each other's back. But you know, as being 5 lads in the film, there was always like little punks going on, and you know, all the banter and stuff. And I think one time, no one saw this, but I got like dudded in front of like all the extras. But none of the crew saw it. But yeah, that was quite embarrassing.
I suppose there was another moment because so Nico was, like he was saying before, he was learning how to play the guitar, and by the end of the film, he could pretty much play any of the songs that were in the film, apart from one. There's one song which is unbelievably difficult, even for someone who's been playing the guitar all their lives. So we had to get him to sit on the lap of a professional guitarist. He put his arms around like that, and helped him play. Yeah.
And he put his hands under there, and it was like, you know, it was just a bit weird. But it was fine.
It was great. It did the trick.
Yeah. I didn't know it came off really well. Was that the one in the pub at the end?
Yeah.
Oh,
you could tell.
Just guessing. Right, okay. More about the previous film we did, Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll, Matt, about the late great Ian Dury. Anyone who isn't familiar with his music, go and check him out. That was a film that was also based on unusual, interesting characters in the music world, trying to make their own mark, you know, like the young band Shadowcaster in Spike Island. So what is it that attracts you to musicians and these kind of characters?
Well, I grew up playing a couple of music instruments. I love the music world. I love seeing like good musicians play. I mean, it's exciting. It's one of the best things you can have in life. You know, everyone's into music, whatever music that is. I spent my time in university hanging out with musicians, and I was lucky enough to meet and live with Coldplay, and I've stayed friends with them ever since. And we've been making music videos every few years ever since. I really admire musicians. I've started having guitar lessons last week, which has been something I wanted to do since I was about 10. So I finally actually got around to it, and it's just a joy to see people who really know what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay, and here's a clip from Matt's film Sex, Drugs and Rock and Roll.
Oh, this is it. Just on the right. Put him in. Oh, my life. God, that hasn't changed one little iota. Right then, Chris, let's get this done before we attract too much attention.
Okay, Ian. Nice.
Wait, what are you doing?
I'm bored.
Only boring people get bored. Go on, off you go. Baxter, I'm going to tell you.
Couple more poses.
Come on, Baxter, I'm working.
Hold it. Hold it there. Got it.
Come on, off you go, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the jewel in England's crown, Mr. Ian Dury!
Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that clip. Now we've got another question from Grace at St. Joseph Catholic Academy.
Hi, my name's Grace. I come from St. Joseph's Catholic Academy and I'm 10 years old. And my question is, how do you get big celebs to perform on your films? Thank you.
Cheers, Grace. Thanks for your question.
That is a really good question. Hi to everyone at St. Joseph's Catholic Academy. To be honest, it's only been the last couple of years I've been able to get celebs in my films, and I felt exactly the same way as you. When we did Sex, Drugs and Rock and Roll, I kept on saying, well, I'd love Ray Winston to do this part, or I'd love someone like Olivia Williams to be in it, or Andy Serkis. And at the time, I assumed you would just kind of ask. I didn't know how you go about it, whether you have to ask like a friend of theirs, you have to ask an agent. And actually, weirdly, you have a casting agent who takes over the film. So they look after the casting bit. Someone who comes in and does it as a job, and then they talk to all the actors' agents. So, for example, getting Nico on board this film, he has an agent, and we talked to his agent, and then they came back, and then Nico came in for a meeting. We met, we had a chat, and we got on. He read a bit of the script, and that's how he ended up working on this film. With someone like Ray Winston, for example, he's very busy. He was in America at the time, and I just asked him if he was interested in doing it. I didn't think in a million years he'd say yes. And then the next thing I knew, I got a call just saying, all right, when do you want me on set? So it's as easy and as difficult as that. It's kind of, all you can do is ask.
We've also got a shout out to Notre Dame Roman Catholic School. Thank you very much indeed for your questions. And they asked, what's your favourite genre of film, as you're someone who has worked on hard-hitting documentaries as well as crime thrillers and music-based dramas?
I love them all. It's a good question. I think I love everything. If I had to choose one particular type of genre, I don't know, today I'd probably say animation, because we've been talking about Frankenweenie, and I love the films of Miyazaki. I don't know if any of you guys back home have seen that. And it's just, it's something I don't know very much about, but I'm a massive enthusiast, so I'd love to get involved in one of those one day.
It's not the one genre you haven't really...
Yeah, there's still time.
Yeah.
And Nico?
I love a bit of drama, me. I love, one of my favourite films is True Romance, which is every time I watch it, it just hits me. Do you know what I mean? The story just gets to me, and they're the sort of films that I'd love to do with the realism.
Is it the Italian Connection?
It's the Italian Connection.
Brilliant. Next up, we're about to show a clip from one of Matt's old documentaries, Moving to Mars, from 2009. But before we show the clip, we've got a big shout out from Derby High School, and they're asking, how did you get the idea for this film? Which again, like Road to Guantanamo, it's kind of a film about people who are placed in a totally alien environment.
For Moving to Mars, well, that is a good question. Hi everyone, it's Derby High?
Yeah,
Derby High School.
Hi Derby High School.
So it was, Moving to Mars was brought to me actually as a film by a producer called Karen Katz. My parents were refugees from Argentina during the 70s. They were kicked out of their country during a dictatorship, and they ended up living over here. And I was always incredibly grateful that I was able to live, a free life. I was just even around because they were in danger. Their lives were in danger when they're in Argentina. So I've always wanted to do a film about refugees. And Moving to Mars was Karen's idea about following refugees from Burma all the way to England. They were being relocated from a refugee camp on the border of Burma and coming all the way to Sheffield. So we followed them, and it was one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
It's an incredibly powerful moving documentary, and we've got a clip for you now.
Ya, mal jangan ada. Itu dia. Pese.
Ada tu lah selo, saya waktu nyor balu. Bah.
Oh, very beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
Very nice. United Kingdom is very familiar with me because I was learning when I was go to school. I know the Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, afterward John Major, and then Mr. Tony Blair, now Mr. Gordon Brown. I know him.
Welcome back, and remember, like every other clip we're showing, Moving to Mars is also available on the Film Club website, so get it on your next film order. Now you've also co-directed some films with Michael Winterbottom, who is how is that different from directing your own projects?
It's a great question. It was actually really it just felt very natural and kind of and relaxed because he was someone I'd ended up working for originally. When I first started out in the industry making films or working on films, first of all, there's lots of ways of getting in, but I started as a runner, which effectively means you make the tea, you answer the phones, you get to know everyone, you send emails and whatever, and go out and get the coffee and stuff. And I was very lucky, and the first job I ever did was for Michael Winterbottom and Andrew Eaton, his producer. And it was amazing. It became a bit of a film school for me because he kind of took me aside in the first week and said, right, what is it you want to do? And I said, I want to be a film director. And he said, well, okay, do you have any practical experience? And like you, I could go out and shoot a short film. I went out and I had a camera, so I'd go and film. I'd sometimes start editing as well. So actually a few months down the line, when he needed someone to come and do camera on one of his films, he got me in. And another time he needed me to edit on the trailer for one of his films, and I did that. Mm-hmm. So when it came to doing Road to Guantanamo and The Shock Doctrine, we were kind of like old friends. And what he does, he started out as an editor as well. So he'd work on one machine, I'd work on the other one. We'd swap over. Same thing on set. He'd be on one camera with the cameraman, I'd be on the other camera. And he was just doing it, I guess, probably the same way that you work with your dad. You just pick up a camera and just start filming and see what happens.
Yeah. What was your favourite film growing up as a kid?
My favourite film is probably The Goonies. I used to love that film.
Classic Film Club film.
Either that or Time Bandits. Those are my two favourite childhood films. I think.
Goonies is a great film. It's a great film. I love Stand By Me, and I think that growing up, you just like it just hits home. Do you know what I mean? Like that's us growing up as lads, and doing all the things they did, and it's cool.
Yeah. And that actually, Stand By Me, even though we didn't sit down and watch it as a reference for this film, it was definitely something we talked about.
Yeah.
So it had the same kind of road movie feel to it.
I'm so sorry, going to have to cut you down because we are rapidly running out of time here, but just, thanks very much for coming to join us here.
Yeah,
absolute pleasure.
There's a competition going on Film Club, so if you want to check out that, then go on to the website.
Matt mentioned Frankenweenie earlier. We've got a brilliant competition on the website. Just type Frankenweenie competition into the computer. Get your entries in by next Wednesday, and you can win a fantastic screening for your school.
Thank you
very
guys.
much.
Thanks very much.
Thanks so much.
Cheers, guys.